Joining me now from Project Veritas, the man behind these videos, investigative journalist James O'Keefe. James, thanks for being here. I know you're having a busy day.
Yes, I sure am. Thank you for having me.
Of course, go through some of this. This is absolutely incredible footage here. I mean, there are some undercover videos that are done that have sort of corroborative content in them. This is smoking gun. He says there's no proof, and we do this just for the ratings.
I think the strongest part is where he says it's a witch hunt. And he says Trump is right. And this guy, let me just say, this guy is telling the truth. I don't think, I don't want him to be fired. He's just telling the truth about the way CNN works. And he's saying that the CEO of CNN, Jeff Zucker, gave these directives to the whole staff. And it confirms every suspicion we've ever had about mainstream media. And I think it's the most powerful thing we've ever done because without an honest media in our country, what are we? Who are we?
Right. It's incredible, though, that it is coming from the top. I mean, I understand ratings. Anyone who works in cable news understands ratings. You have to be interesting or people don't want to watch you. That's part of it. But it doesn't mean making things up. It means packaging the information you want to communicate in an interesting manner. What he's doing is, even though we have no proof of collusion, no proof of corruption, no proof of obstruction, they're playing these stories anyway. I mean, the ethics of that, the ethical lapse is appalling.
Yeah, and he talks about that in the tape. You know, he says it's a, quote, adorable, unquote, for people to think that journalism is about actually exposing information. None of this would shock me or you or even probably your audience, but to see a CNN producer so honest, almost naked in his honesty about the way the news works and how corrupt and empty journalism is. This video it's a wake-up call. I think it may be, to borrow a pun, tipping point, turning point in the media and how it works. It's confirming every suspicion. It's kind of miraculous this happened. I didn't expect that the 3 CNN producers would resign yesterday. We got this tape on Friday of last week after a few months of building a relationship with this guy. So I have another one coming tomorrow, another video on CNN, and CNN has responded, by the way. They've said that they support diversity of opinion at the network, a ridiculous statement. But
right, they said they supported diversity of opinion, which I'm not sure that that's true to anyone who's looking at their content objectively. They also, their defense is that this particular producer, they say, has not been involved in any Russia-related stories, that he's worked on other content. So they're basically trying to discredit his opinion. Even though they value the diversity of opinion, they're trying to discredit his legitimacy. What do you say in response to that? How do you respond to that?
I say that he was in meetings and he was involved with the CEO, Jeff Zucker. He is testifying about what the CEO of CNN told him, and the CEO is responsible for the culture of the company. This guy should not lose his job, but the CEO probably should, because the CEO sets the culture of the company, and the board of directors should be involved in this. But they're trying to say he's a supervising producer at CNN. He's in their CNN headquarters. He took our undercover reporter inside CNN's building to tell us all these secrets.
Right, and just the fact that he said, too, that he testified, and he said after President Trump pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Accords, they covered that story for a day and a half, and then from the very top, from the CEO himself, Jeff Zucker, they got the direction, they got the thumbs up, good coverage of the climate accords, now go back to Russia. That's not how news should be dictated at all whatsoever. I mean, you couldn't be clearer in pointing the finger at Jeff Zucker.
That's as clear as it possibly gets. He's a supervising producer. He clearly says the CEO told us to do this. It's amazing, the reaction, and I believe that this will be the tipping point. I believe this will change people's perceptions of the media. That is the goal of Project Veritas, is to show the motivations. It's about money. He says it's all about money. And listen, Pete, I get it's about ratings. You know, cable news is about ratings, but you can't lie just to make money. That's where you draw the line. And what I say in my piece is, Jeff Zucker, are you a newsman or are you a businessman? And they're a businessman. They don't care about truth. They don't care about educating people. It's really disgusting. I'm glad people can see it for themselves.
Right. Well, you can be both. You can be a news person and a business person at the same time. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice ethics just to make money, but you don't have to sacrifice money just to push a bad story either. There's a combination, and it makes you a bad newsman if you're not a good business person as well. Let me ask you. This is part one. You said you have more coming. Can you give us a tease? What's coming tomorrow?
Well, the one we have tomorrow is very along these lines, but it's definitely someone that everyone knows, a name that everyone. This guy, no one knows this guy. He's a producer. He's a senior producer, but you've never heard of him. Tomorrow, this guy, he's on television. You'll know him immediately. So, and then there's part 3 and there's part 4, and we've got multiple media companies. We're going to be doing this all summer and fall. It's called American Pravda. We've spent, Liz, the last 7 months inside. This is what we were doing while we've been quiet. We've been inside of these media companies, our team of undercover journalists, and we'll just keep launching them week after week after week after week.
Right, so anybody who's in journalism who lies, be afraid, be very, very afraid, because you don't know who you might have talked to, and you don't know when your face might show up on an undercover video betraying that you are indeed fake news. James.